Hi everyone and welcome, my name is Dora and today I am doing a collab video, a tag video with Taru. Taru is here on YouTube, she's absolutely amazing. She asked me when I met her in person. Hang on, first of all, we figured out that our birthdays are almost exactly on the same day. She was born several years before me, no, after me, sorry Taru. And she was also born a night before me, so our birthdays are one Earth day apart, but actual 2 calendar days apart. In astrology terms, we would still class it a conjunction because, yeah, 28 degrees of Taurus is Taru. How fitting, the name. Please let me know what this means actually, Taru. What does your name signify? Yeah. And my sun is at 29 degrees of Taurus. Okay. And yeah, at the end of our little get together, Taru was saying, oh, maybe we should do a birthday collab. Let's have a think. And then I thought, oh, what can we do? You know, maybe I'm doing so many projects already. So I thought maybe we'll just do one of those fun tag videos. I know Sarah from Already Shopped It did that recently with her birthday twin. So I went over to Sarah's channel to check out which questions they had used. And Taru and I basically picked our favorite ones from that, and we picked our favorite questions from another tag video. One of the set of questions is by Anjelica, who's linked down below. And then the second list is from Meg. And then I added some of my own questions as well. So we've got quite a few fun questions to go through today, but please also, please make sure you check out Taru. She's absolutely amazing. She's linked down below. I really like her content because number one, she's super calm and relaxing to watch. I need that. I come here for escapism. I come here to just relax and enjoy. And then second of all, she is amazing at panning and so good at hitting pan. Taru has hit more than 50% pan percentage from her entire collection, and she doesn't have a small collection either, so you know, hats off to her. Anyway, I'm really excited to see how Taru is going to answer all of these questions, but let's just kick off with the first question. Show an eyeshadow palette that represents me in terms of the color story. I am picking the Revolution Pro Rockstar Noir Edition palette. Maybe this is not the one in terms of like, you know, just in terms of my makeup, but I'm trying to see what represents me as a whole, like my fashion style and the kind of colors I'm into, specifically for clothing, jewelry as well. Even though, you know, whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of pinks and golds here. This is what I'm into. And I also like the black and gold packaging here as well. You know, you can't really see it, but I'm showing you here awkwardly a little bit, you know, of my hot pink trousers that I'm wearing. I really love wearing pink. I love combining it with more muted colors like I have been doing today, although it's more, you know, cool tone leaning. But yeah, pink and gold just makes me happy. And I also like these sort of like shimmery khakis in there as well. Khaki is like another color that I think, I guess, suits me quite well. So, you know, I thought this was a good color story to represent me because I am really into fashion and style. Not necessarily in terms of the trends, I just like seeing people and I like telling people who I think look amazing and fabulous, and you can see that they're doing their own thing with often secondhand clothing actually. Next is an eyeshadow palette that represents me in terms of the packaging, and I'm picking the Too Faced That's My Jam palette. I'm not like 100% on the design, but I do love music so much. And I grew up with listening to vinyl records. Roberta Flack and Stevie Wonder, it's just sort of, you know, childhood heroes. I've been able to see Stevie Wonder twice in my life live. But I also really do have a sweet tooth, so I like that here as well. And I also really love dancing, so I feel like that's what this tag here, That's My Jam, this saying represents, is that's my jam. I gotta, you know, immediately get up and move around. So yeah, I feel like that truly represents me. And I'm hoping to be able to manifest even more of that in my next year ahead of me, because obviously, yes, Taru just had her birthday on Monday and my birthday is on Wednesday, so 2 days ago by the time you're watching this, I think. Next up, we skipped quite a few of those other questions from that list And we went straight to an eyeshadow palette that represents dark and grungy. I love dark and grungy eye looks so much. Doesn't mean I have to wear it every single day, but I like it. I like it in the summer, I like it during the day. I'm not, you know, tied to only doing that in the evenings when it's dark, you know, around Halloween. And that's why I'm picking this one here, and I think this is my favorite one. So this is the Revolution Pro New Neutral Smoked Palette. And it looks like this. And if you're not new here and you're watching all of my videos, you know I already worked on this 2 years ago for Project Level Up, Level 2, hit 2 pans in here. And this is also part of my May selection. And yeah, what can I say? I'm really enjoying this palette. It's also indicative panning for Nobody Left Behind. Yeah, absolutely love this. I think I have another palette that the Urban Decay You Got the Look or Prince palette that is also dark and grungy, and I prefer this one over the Urban Decay. And formula wise, I think it's just as great, you know. Little spoiler for my eyeshadow declutter project pan, I don't think this is going anywhere in my collection because I love it. And next, a palette that looks completely different. Here's an eyeshadow palette that represents fun, and I am picking the Sweet Pinks by Juvia's Place. I love this one. I think it's so fun. I love all of these pink tones here. There's shimmers there, there's mattes. This color, this sort of fuchsia color here, love. I mean, you know, there's a reason why my handle is Fuchsia Soul. And yeah, the shimmers are gorgeous. You know, it's not a standalone palette, but as a companion palette, this always brings so much fun to all the looks that I'm doing. And also it reminds me of like spring, summer and birthday season for me because yeah, I tend to wear like pink looks around my birthday as well. Next, for an eyeshadow palette that represents inspiration, I am picking the Beauty Bay New Mood palette. I got this one from Ruth, who's linked down below as well. And I do have to say, I enjoy this color story. You know, not every single shadow in here individually is something that I'm really drawn to. It does inspire me to try out different looks with this, to also try and use these shadows maybe in a different way. One of the coolest discoveries about this palette is this green shimmer here, which I was using on top of a pink look as a topper shadow, lightly dusted all over my mobile lid, and it just brought out, like, it was just a green shimmer on top of a pink. It didn't look like I changed my eye look into green at all. It was very subtle. And something like that I find inspirational when I know that I can use these shadows in new and creative ways that aren't necessarily what seems evident when you look at it at first glance. Plus, I find the Beauty Bay formula really nice and fun, super pigmented, easy to blend. So yeah, this inspires me to create looks that push me out of my comfort zone and maybe try out new things that I wouldn't normally do. We're moving into the next set of questions here. So these are less about eyeshadow palettes and more about panning. So question number 1, why did you start project panning? And to respond to that in one word, it is community. And what that means is, number 1, I wanted to connect with people, connect with all of you, but also it keeps me accountable. And that's what I feel I need for panning, because, you know, I could be doing all of this by myself, never share it with anyone, or only talk to the people, you know, who are in my actual life, IRL friends and family, but do they really care as much as I do about the progress on an item, or how many times I've used it, or the weight difference, or how I'm doing a look? Probably not. So this feels really nice because I feel like a lot of us are in the same boat where we just have this strong interest in makeup and panning, because it's not just being into makeup, it's more than that. We're into like the geeky aspect of it as well, I guess. The numbers, the stats and all of that, and a lot of people just don't care, you know, and that's not their hobby. So I find that it's always really nice to connect with others who are interested in the same thing. And yeah, when I discovered panning, it blew my mind, and I knew immediately I had to create my own account on Instagram, it was at the time, to come and join this wonderful party. And fun fact, this is in regards to Taru, I remember specifically that Taru was the first panner, actual panner, who commented on one of my YouTube videos. So always love her for that as well. Felt really nice and welcoming, quite early on, to be recognized and accepted and welcomed into the community. And yeah, wherever I went, it's always been like that. But yeah, Taru holds a special place in my heart with regards to my YouTube journey. This next question I really enjoyed. What is the most rewarding part of project panning? Because I had to think about it. For me, the most rewarding thing is finishing a product. Yeah, it seems sort of, you know, self-evident, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to go through a collection here. Although there are panners who are doing panning, project pans, in order to rotate through their collection. For me, it's really about finishing an item, and I find that really exciting. Or even if it's like a consolidating of something, say I'm frankening 2 products and turning them into one, I find that really satisfying as well. But in order to put them into one product, to be able to franken it, you need to make that progress. So yeah, finishing a product to me is the most satisfying. A close second is hitting pan, and this is where I think I'm finding this question so interesting, because it made me think about how my goals have shifted, and I need to acknowledge that, and I feel like I'm already doing that. But I think sometimes it's good to like honor that and acknowledge it, and even like say it out loud. You know, another reason why we're panning, to share that stuff that's on our mind, go through that process, share our thoughts, and go through that journey, that process of understanding more about our collection, our preferences, and ultimately about ourselves. So yeah, I've learned that I think hitting pan, even though it's really, really fun and I enjoy it, it's been overtaken by finishing products. Yeah. Next question, what is the most challenging part of project panning? For me, it's FOMO. I would like to do every single project. If I'm watching an intro or a new, new to me update on a project that I haven't seen yet, my mind immediately goes like, oh, what would I put into this project? And I'm starting to plan it out. Whether I sit down and do it on paper or just in my head, I'm starting to think about it. I'm always finding all these projects so fun, but I just don't have the time for it, not to film or edit loads of videos. And secondly, also, I don't have that many products anymore. And whenever I have done too many projects, I don't make any progress and I feel overwhelmed. So that is my most trickiest, challenging part of project panning, is wanting to do all the projects, kind of like signing up for more than I can. So also really sorry if I ever like told you, oh, I want to join your project, and then nothing ever came of it. Yeah, I feel bad about that, truly. I just don't have enough space on this face to do all the projects that I would like to do. So I have to be very selective, and everything needs to slot together. And even though I'm planning ahead so much, I mean, drop me a line if you are also a little bit starting to think about your pan that palette for next year, for example. Do you limit your spending or go on a no-buy while on project pan? Yes, I do that. Not initially. Initially, my collection was very different. I didn't have a lot of eyeshadow palettes. I didn't have a lot of nail polishes, but I had other categories that were inflated because I had recently gotten into makeup again in a new way, and therefore I feel like I had a lot of eye pencils, lip products, and foundations specifically, where I was like trying different things out. Also had like a lot of lip liners still, like older ones, really old ones. So yeah, my collection has shifted, and also my behavior around makeup and how I shop makeup has changed. So initially I wasn't on a no-buy, and I didn't limit my spending either. I was really spurred on by pan those eyeshadows, and when my goal was just to hit pan and everything, and the variety of the shadows and the colors and the textures and formulas went up, this was what I was, mainly interested in, rather than reducing my eyeshadow collection. I acquired so many new palettes, and my collection quadrupled in size, yeah, within like 4 years, I think. But now that's all different, because now I would actually like to physically have less. So I am on no-buy for most categories, a lot of them I'm only on a low buy on, but I'm actively trying to bring much less in than I can actually pan. Is there like a goal? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a minute. What is your #1 tip for a successful project pan? In one word, consistency. So that is regular use. Makes sense, right? The more you use it, the sooner you'll be able to finish it. And then also not being afraid of panning a look. And I think as another little bit that sort of ties into that is, yeah, don't put too many similar items into a project. So if you're able to be consistent on certain products, maybe that's not an entire face of makeup, maybe you are craving variety in certain areas. Even with me, where like I quite enjoy having the freedom to express myself creatively in terms of my eye makeup, in terms of colors. I know my style isn't massively creative. That's not personally what I feel suits me, but I do like playing with color. Over the past year, perhaps, I have been increasingly more into panning a look, and it's just getting stronger and stronger. But then, of course, I still like some leeway and freedom in terms of mixing things up here and there. I think the stronger your goals are, the more consistent you can be, and I think then you can hit other goals that you've got in mind as well. Yeah. It can always be applied to other things too, I find. There's a lot of more profound learning in panning. Yeah, there is. And next question, what is your goal for your makeup collection through project panning? For me, this is about reclaiming space. First and foremost, I would just like to have less, physically less. And second also, and that's like almost on par, is the fact that I don't want my makeup to expire. I have had makeup products expire on me before I was able to get to them and complete them, and that always pains me. So my ideal collection would just be maybe 1 to 3 products per category, and 3 at the very most, just with like favorite categories like cream eyeshadow, eyeshadow sticks, where I like a little bit of variety, or maybe even blush, cream blush. I'm not even sure. No, actually my goal is lower for that. I think generally having 1 or 2 is probably enough for me for most categories. Not nail polish, not eyeshadows, but I think that is the only way for me to ensure that I am able to pan something within like the 12 or 24 month shelf life that is usually advertised. So that's my goal. I would just like to, I don't know, buy a foundation and then use it immediately, and once I'm getting towards the end of it, start to think about buying the next one, and do that with every single product. And the next lot of questions are the ones that I've added, and they are more about specific products again. So a Fantasy Self eyeshadow palette. I feel like I've seen a tag at some point years ago where this was part of the questions, but I couldn't find it. So if you know who it is, please let me know so I can give credit. But yeah, a Fantasy Self eyeshadow palette for me is the XX Revolution Bitter Peach Luxe Shadow Palette. I have officially decluttered this. It's on my Vinted, so I'm trying to sell it. I had 2 palettes on there, one sold already. And this is a Fantasy Self eyeshadow palette for me because in my head I was thinking, you know, when I was like getting more into eyeshadows again and properly, because I learned how to actually apply them without them creasing on me after 20 minutes. I was seeing a lot of photographs or content of women who have very blue eyes and they're using this type of color story, and I thought, wow, if I use this kind of stuff, it will really make my eyes pop. Well, it turns out it doesn't, because for starters, my eyes are blue-gray, so they're not that clear, strong, vibrant blue. And the colors that make my eyes pop more is actually when I'm using sort of taupey browns, actually. So, you know, coming back to more deeper, more grungier looks rather than these very vibrant, orangey, peachy shadows here. And then second of all, I don't have warm undertones in my skin, so it just looks a bit funny. Yeah, it's a fantasy self thing. I'm never gonna be that tan person. I'm just not. That definitely always got pointed out as a weakness growing up. If you grew up in the 80s and 90s, it was a thing to just totally disobey SPF rules and make yourself look as tanned as possible by, yeah, getting wrinkly in the sun, I guess. Anyway, who's laughing now? All right. Oh my goodness. Okay, next question. Which product or products are redundant in your makeup collection and you only use them because you pan? I would say immediately highlighter. I only really use highlighters because I have them and I'd like to go through them, and hence they're in project pans, and that's when I remember to use them. They are not part of my everyday routine. Maybe another fantasy self type of item, but yeah, I like the idea of them and I like how they look, but it doesn't seem like a necessary everyday step to me, even though I enjoy having them. And then secondly, red lipstick. I think I'd be much happier with a red lip liner. I have recently discovered this, that, you know, using a lip liner, this is not a red one, and using this to fill in my lips with as well is perfect, and it actually means that the lipstick stays on a bit better. It looks a bit more clean, like precise, and yeah, so I think I'm going to try to pan my two very deep red lipsticks, because I don't think I'll replace them. I'd replace them with a red lip liner. The next two questions are very similar, but they're not the same thing. Okay, if you could only keep 3 makeup products from your current collection, what would they be? And I'm picking 3 eyeshadow palettes because I think everything else in my collection is like easily replaceable, right? Say I had to get rid of everything apart from 3 products, and then I would sort of slowly be able to build my own collection again. I would hold on to 3 eyeshadow palettes, and they're actually all discontinued, but they are really lovely and beautiful, and I would love to still have them in my collection. So 3 eyeshadow palettes. First of all, I really wanted to pick one of my BH Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. I think the BH Cosmetics formula is really lovely, and because they've been sold, they don't really exist as such anymore, I don't think. Who knows? But my favorite BH Cosmetics palette that I have is the Do Not Disturb palette. I think the formula is amazing, in case I hadn't said that a million times already. And it's a beautiful palette. I do like some blue looks here and there, especially when they're quite shimmery. And then this color here is my absolute favorite. Love it. Yeah, I just think it's a really nice color story. And then second is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. This one I got from Louise, who's also linked down below, and this is a discontinued palette. I think it's so pretty. Yeah, there's that orange there, but you know, I can sometimes wear an orange. Depends how I pair it really. But yeah. But this is the sort of color I'm talking about. This is better suited for my eye color. Yeah, I just think it's beautiful, sentimental value to me, absolutely stunning formula. And Louise has put the constellation of Taurus, how fitting, onto this palette as well, because I'm a Taurus. And finally, another discontinued palette, the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. Mine isn't that heavily used, but you know, I don't think I'd ever get rid of it, unless of course I'm gonna pan it, but yeah, no time soon. So yeah, those are my 3 that I would keep. Final question, if you could only wear 3 makeup products from your current collections, which ones would they be? I'm going to insert some clips here because before I sat down to film, I actually applied my makeup using these 3 products. So the first product that you're seeing there is my PS foundation, and this is in the shade Nougat. It's the PS My Perfect Color Illuminating Foundation in Nougat. And this is from Primark, and I really enjoy it. I'm holding up a new still sealed bottle because I didn't want to share. Any spoilers, I'm working on the previous bottle in my plan to pan this year. Absolutely love the formula on this. I know it's a good shade match for me, and because, you know, only 3 products, didn't want to waste my second product on a concealer. You can see me dipping back into this more and more to try and build it up. I think it works quite nicely. So I'm also using it under my eyes again, I think in total like 3 times. You'll see it again at the very end of the look. I'm going back into it. So yeah, this would be probably my most important product. But then again, my second product, and you know, I like the versatility of it, and I love the formula of this. This is the H&M Do It All Stick. I've got it in rose coral, love it. So it's a matte Do It All Stick, yeah, for lips and cheeks. So I am putting it on my lips, as you can see. I'm also putting it on my cheeks. About 3 little swipes, and then buffing that in with a big brush. And I'm going up to my temples as well, and onto my brow bones. Yeah, this is the sort of makeup that I do on school runs in the mornings when I literally have 5 minutes, maybe 7 if I'm lucky, to put on my makeup in the morning. And then finally, just because I like this, because, you know, assuming that if I could only wear these 3 makeup products, this is not necessarily like just an early morning look, but maybe something that could last throughout the whole day. I am choosing the Vive Eye Wand in Silver Mink, another item I got from Ruth. Absolutely love this, and as you can see, I'm using it on my outer corners and then a little bit as an eyeliner as well, and I'm only smudging this in using my fingers, then going back into the PS foundation to clean up a little bit to make sure that the outer corner cream eyeshadow scenario looks more intentional, a bit more clean, a bit more winged if you wish. And yeah, that's my look, and those are my 3 products. So this was it. I have managed to get to the last question through all of it. I hope it wasn't too yes, it was waffly, but that's the whole point of a tag video, isn't it? So I'm very excited to see what Taru has been saying about her answers, which palettes she's been showing, etc, etc. And yeah, I can't wait to see her video. Make sure you check her out, show her some love. I'd also be very interested to hear from you in the comments. Maybe you want to answer some of these questions yourself. I'd love to know. I always find it so interesting to hear how other people would answer these questions. And of course, by all means, if you're wanting to do this type of chaotic, this pick and mix type of tag, makeup tag, panning tag, eyeshadow tag video, go ahead. All of the questions from the original panners or content creators are linked below, and then our list of questions is there too. So yeah, feel free to do your own videos, maybe tag us so we can come and say hi. So that was it. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't done so already. And other than that, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and I'm sending you so much love. Take care, bye.